at ease, witness.
I'll try, sir.
Good. Now, Meekins, I'd like you to please give us your report of the crime.
Very well, sir. I was on my way to the evidence room on police business, and I happened to pass the security office. I noticed a strange figure on the monitor. So I entered the evidence room and approached him. Then he pointed a knife at me, and I fought for my life, sir. And that's when I did it. And after that, I passed out. And when I woke up, I had a wound on my saluting arm.
So the figure attacked you. And I'm told there is substantial evidence that this figure was Bruce Goodman. Let's examine this evidence.
Your Honor, this morning I was sent this videotape which contains the crucial moment of the murder itself. I haven't had time to inspect it myself, considering the security department had a time delivering it to me.
Very well. Bailiff, have the video player brought in.
This video contains the hours of 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. So if the information given to us by the witness is correct, then the incident at hand should occur exactly 15 minutes into the tape. The prosecution has a question that doesn't relate to the case at hand, Your Honor.
Oh, what, Mr. Edgeworth?
The prosecution would like to know, what the hell is that thing?
Oh, that, sir. That's the pride of the entire police force. The Blue Badger, sir.
The what?
That, sir, was the reason I was in the evidence room in the first place. The Blue Badger usually stands in the reception area of the police department, but after the award ceremony, the chief wanted it moved to the evidence room. He didn't want it there where so many people were milling around.
I wonder why.
I assumed he thought it might get damaged. After the building had calmed down, I went to the evidence room to retrieve it. However, that is when the tragedy occurred. But nevertheless, as soon as I regained consciousness, my first thought was to move it back to its original location.
In any case, does the defense wish to examine this tape further?
The defense does.
There you go. The prosecution has no use for this tape as it doesn't clear up the identity of the victim. We'll use the testimony alone.
But sir, the man's face may be obscured, but it has to be Detective Goodman. I mean, he opened the locker which requires the fingerprint of Detective Goodman.
Objection!
My understanding of the lockers is this, Officer Meekins. When you grab the handle, a scanner checks your fingerprint. If it finds a match, the light turns on and the lock releases.
That's a simple explanation, yes.
Now I'd like to draw the court's attention back to the videotape. Specifically, to the moments before the alleged Bruce Goodman opens the locker. The light's already on, which means the locker wasn't locked when he opened it.
Objection! Right, according to the information I have here, the security system is responsible for locking the doors as well as unlocking them, and there's an electronic sensor in the bottom of the locker. And according to this, there's a twin sensor on the underside of the door, and when the door is closed, the sensors meet one another, which complete the electrical circuit and then triggers the lock.
But how else could the light have been on when the door was closed?
The court was hoping you could explain that, Mr. Wright.
Well, Your Honour, this isn't really my field, but my colleague here is more technically minded.
Well, young lady, do you have any theories on this matter?
Well, Your Honour, if something was inserted between the two sensors, the circuit would fail to connect.
Well, Mr. Wright, do you have any reason to believe this was the case?
As a matter of fact, Your Honour, I do. Take a look at the moment after the locker is open.
Something fell out!
The object that fell out of the locker was never in there in the first place. It was jammed in the door.
Please, let's dispense with this baseless theory. There's no way the object could be thin enough to fit between this door and not conduct electricity.
Oh, but it was, Mr. Edgeworth.
This glove was recovered from the scene of the crime. It's both thin and made of rubber, but more importantly, it has a tag on it marked SL9. That was the case that Goodman was head of, so it only makes sense that it would be stored in his locker. On the day of the crime, even I could have opened that locker because it was never truly closed. Ergo, there is no proof whatsoever that man was really Detective Goodman.
Actually, that's not quite true, right? As the witness will testify, there's something else that will prove this victim's identity.
That's right, sir. To enter the evidence room, you must have a police issue identity card.
And I have the ID record for February the 21st right here. And there are 2 numbers on it. They have a timestamp of 5:15, one belonging to our witness and the other belonging to the elusive Detective Goodman.
But suppose someone else got a hold of Goodman's card.
You can suppose all you want, right, but unless you have evidence to back your claim, it won't wash at all. I suggest we move on.
I may not have definitive proof, but I have something that points to that conclusion. This lost item report was filled out by Bruce Goodman on the day of the murder. Partially only, and my hypothesis is that he was intending to report the loss of his ID card.
And why is that?
Because there's something on this report that shouldn't be there. A mistake. When Goodman was filling it out, he crossed a number out and rewrote it. Even then he got it wrong. But his card has his ID number on it, so there's no reason why he couldn't simply check it. Unless, of course, he didn't have his card.
So let me see if I understand you. You're saying that the automatic lock on Goodman's locker was sabotaged. So there's no way we could know who opened it.
I suppose.
So when we take in all the facts, it becomes apparent that Goodman isn't involved in this incident at all. What's the matter, Wright? You realize what you've just done? Mr. Wright has just kindly informed us all that this evidence room incident has nothing to do with the case at hand. Ergo, no double murder. Goodman was killed in one place and one place only.
Your Honor, the prosecution would have us believe that these incidents are unrelated, and while it's true that the murder is not shown on the tape, it cannot be said that there is no connection between them. I refer here to the amount of blood that was found on the evidence room floor. The defense demands further investigation into this.
Your points caught my interest, Mrs. Wright. However, to examine this further, we're going to need more witnesses.
Your Honor, the defense has a specific witness in mind.
Oh? Who?
Jake Marshall.
Bailiff, please bring the witness in.
Howdy.
Name and occupation, witness.
Name's Marshall. Jake Marshall. Pleasure to be here.
Very well. The defense may proceed.
Mr. Marshall, you were charged with guarding the evidence room on the day of the murder, right?
Right.
If you would, please tell the court your account of that day.
Sorry, partner. I can't help you. I wasn't at my post at the time of the murder.
You what?
I'm supposed to check in the place now and again, but the place has got 2 security systems, card swiping the door, and a security camera.
Plus the fingerprint locks inside.
The what now?
The fingerprint scanners on the lockers.
Never heard of those doohickeys before. Point is, the place manager's fine without them.
I'm not sure I care for your tone.
I ain't sure I care for your beard, but you don't hear me complaining.